Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. This is Connor from Futures Analytica, and today we are going to be hyperscalping NQ once more. So I am going to start out with a little bit of an analysis before we get put right into the day. So I want to point out this green bar, this did act as an actual support level, confirming this range that goes up and down. Now I do want to say that this range is big enough to where it would not be considered a regression mode switch if you were inside of this range. It is significantly larger than our take profits, so we wouldn't really be able to take advantage of ping pong action here where price bounced inside of this range over and over again. We would simply be taking advantage of trending action. So that would be much different to when we had maybe a smaller range like this. You can see that we are actually just going to be arming it in both directions here. Looks like I missed out on this trade by doing that, but we are going to be in trend mode here, armed in both directions, trying to take advantage of anything on this side. We don't really have a confirmed area on where we would switch to regression mode as of yet, as I don't see any regression mode ranges. Like this down here, this whole zone over here would have been a regression mode switch. We would have switched at, we would have first seen the bar at 1158 or 858 there. We would have seen that we got our first divergence and then a adjacent bar, which would have been our first regression mode switch there. But you can see we are in trend mode at this point. So we're just waiting to get filled into a trade, and we're armed in both directions. Sorry guys for the late start. Initially woke up a little bit late today. And it looks like we got our first fill there, and we got filled on that trade pretty quickly as well. So that's good to know. Sorry, as I was saying, we started the day out pretty late here, and then we had issues with our fire alarm. Had to go and replace all the batteries on it because they just kept going off. So that was set us back a little bit, but here we are. Unfortunately, we missed out on this whole zone over here. That would have been pretty easy to trade. However, hopefully we get a continuance of this range and we can just do some very, very light analysis to keep us on the right track. Also, guys, with that new machine learning update coming out soon, you're not going to have to optimize settings anymore. You're each going to have unique settings based off of your trading style. It's going to learn based off of your trading style. So you won't have to fiddle with that anymore. Of course, you can retrain the data if you want to change trading strategies. You can also going to be able to save it as well. So you'll be able to switch in between different configurations. Got put there into a long trade. Moved up to our auto chase for our stop there, so we now have an advantage. Prices moved down to our break even. Just holding firm, we've rearmed it in both directions just so we don't miss any trades if this trade stops out or fills. Unfortunately, that is our first loss of the day. We do minimize the loss there. We have one win and one loss on the day. However, we are still up $216. We're using that automatic chase to skew our risk once price moves up, I believe. 11 ticks. Playing the waiting game here. Polarity is not picking up on any large market imbalances, so not getting filled into any trades. Do want to point out an observation point. We may get our first range sticking here. We have not seen confirmation of this yet. However, if we continue to get adjacent bars at this level here, that may lead us to do a regression mode switch. We're not at that point yet, but I want you guys to see what I'm seeing, what I'm always observing when I'm trading this strategy. So that did not happen. We did not get a stick at that level, so we're keeping it in trend mode. But it might, if we move up here and we get a bar close back inside of that little zone that is still forming, that could still be considered a switch mode. All right, so this is enough confirmation to switch it into regression mode here. We are going to be marking out a range here and a range at the top of that zone there. Those aren't going to be complete breakpoints, but I'm doing that to highlight exactly what we're looking at. I'm going to be moving this down to be a little bit more consistent with our past data here. Get filled into our first regression trade here. It's a short trade above the halfway point on that zone, and we get filled pretty quickly. We're outside of this zone now. Gonna keep watching it. If we close below this red line, yeah, we're switching it back into trend mode. We actually immediately get a fill once we do that, and we get filled pretty quickly. You can see, I think that's actually a pretty obvious reason to switch out of regression mode there. Also, guys, if you see that you're not getting filled on every imbalance, that's because of the adversary detection. If you want to get filled on every single imbalance you see with your current settings, you'll just set adversary detection to 0. Some people like that more, and I personally, we just like the anti-spoofing measures that we've implemented into the strategy. So interestingly, we get filled into a short trade here, and we get filled pretty quickly, leading to another win. Dropping way outside of our previous range here, we're going to see if we actually get a close here, we could lead ourselves into a very long downtrend. But it seems like we don't. Price bounces off of this level here as it was doing before, and just going to have to wait for that. Get filled long there. Going to be rearming the strategy, of course. We have our auto chase. Get filled pretty quickly on that one. Get put into a short trade here in trend mode. This is mostly a trend mode day here. got filled pretty quickly. All the way up to 3K on the day, looking for 5K to finish it out. Also, if you guys have any complicated technical questions, best way to get those resolved would be to use our email support. I'm not able to give you guys the comprehensive and detailed answers that some of you guys may need, so in the YouTube comments, because I do personally respond to those. So best way would be to reach out to our support if you have those. Looks like we got filled into a short trade here, got stopped out pretty quickly. We may get this new range here. We had the formation of this green zone that is an automatically marked line there by the Analytica Chart 4+, and we're back into this area. So gonna need a little bit more confirmation here to do a final switch into regression if we get another choppy zone over here, or we get a new choppy zone inside of this area. Also, guys, I do always have volume profile open. It's only a factor when you see extremely large disparities between, looks like we got filled and won that trade pretty quickly there. But you'll see, like, this is an example of a huge disparity. We're at the top of this bar, but most of the volume was concentrated near the bottom here. We're probably going to see a return to this zone. I would not be surprised if we got stopped on that, but we didn't. So that's interesting. But as I said, you don't always have sorry guys, hard to provide analysis and trade at the exact same time, but we are actually at $4,400 on the day. For example, right here, where my cursor is, this is an example of an extreme on both sides. We had an extreme at the bottom of this bar and almost no volume at the top. We did eventually see a return to that zone. You can be confident that I didn't pick it up when we were doing it, but I guess that's a pretty good reason that we would not get a breakdown there into a downtrend. Wow, that was a really, really quick trade there. Got filled and then immediately won that trade almost 2 seconds after. So I'd say that was a pretty stellar day compared to our trading on Monday, which was, actually maybe that was Tuesday, but yeah. Anyway, I'd say that was pretty great. We got our trading done quite quickly. I think that was, how long were we streaming for? I'm not sure, but like 13 minutes actually. So I'd say that is pretty dang good. I love NQ because of how much movement you get compared to ES. ES has just been pretty slow. I actually haven't looked at ES in quite some time, but I don't know if what kind of luck you guys are having. Let me know in the comments how ES is going for you guys, because I actually am curious, especially with polarity. I can't just glance at it and check because it's not really how polarity works. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Coming up with some new content soon.